10 p.m. Pacific Daylight Saving Time, the 11th of May 2018, by Rhonda Richford Photograph, by Antoine Doyen. The issue with Cannes and Berlin is the press. It's probably not the best or not the most supportive way to begin an Oscar campaign, says Georges, who was photographed April 30th in her Paris office. In the 13 years since Emilie, Georges and Alexandre Mallet-Guy launched Memento Films in Cannes, the company has matured into an international sales powerhouse. Like so many other sales shingles, however, Memento has made the transition into production, which bore fruit this year with the Oscar-winning Call Me By Your Name. Following Name's game-changing success, Georges is at Cannes with two films in competition, Asghar Farhadi's Everybody Knows and Nuri Bilge Ceylan's The Wild Pear Tree. Memento also is handling international sales outside of North America for another hot project, Kristen Stewart's Seberg, Against All Enemies, which Georges says is anything but a typical biopic as it chronicles actress Jean Seberg's battles with the FBI in the 1960s. Before heading out from Paris to Cannes with a truck full of rosé, because a Cannes without rosé is not a Cannes, she says, Georges discussed Memento's evolution, how a festival book can actually hurt a film's Oscar chances, and why she's eyeing a move to Los Angeles. How has the industry changed since Memento was launched? Independent distribution is more and more fragile, and definitely the level of risk that distributors are willing to take is shrinking. The sales agency is more and more crucial and stepping in much earlier, even at the writing stage, to be the missing link between the film and the audience. In financing also, independent producers have very difficult choices to make. How many partners do we involve? Too many partners is always a mess, but at the same time, you need this financial environment that can make the film happen. It also means we have to be involved earlier and earlier. We need to open directors up and make them conscious of how to reach an audience. I am focusing more on a very managerial approach with the directors we work with. This is more or less the way I see the future of the company. Do you think a premiere in Cannes boosts or detracts from Oscar chances? It is very difficult to say. Call Me By Your Name premiered in Sundance and then Berlin, and we managed to keep the momentum throughout the year, even if, I have to confess, I think the momentum was the highest prior to the end of the year and was decreasing just before the Oscars. So there's always this question mark. The issue with Cannes and Berlin is the press. It's probably not the best or not the most supportive way to begin an Oscar campaign. It is very risky to have a film in Cannes just because the press is not really tender. Everyone is influencing everyone else, so in recent years, we've seen U.S. films that have been put in very tricky situations. So do you support the festival's move to change the press screening schedules? I definitely think Cannes needed a change. I think they were feeling that nothing was popping out of Cannes, or there was no surprise anymore, or almost none, because you had seen everything before going to the screening. Can the impasse between Netflix and French exhibitors be resolved? I don't think there will be any radical changes within the next 5 years. I would say the only way Netflix can react to this is to do more local language production, and they are. That will create a highly competitive environment for young producers, because they will have more opportunities and a new way of doing films. I think they will make the transition happen. There is a middle ground to find. This negotiation should happen within the next year. It's going to move a bit, but the radical change that is needed is not going to happen quickly. Can you tell us about this big move you are planning, for yourself and for the company? I have decided to experience 1 year in Los Angeles, with the family and everything, next year, just to improve and expand a bit this rhythm of production. We are very close to Netflix and want to offer our directors a chance to transition or to position themselves in a good way if they are interested in that. We have several shoots expected next year in the US. and projects that are in development, so the idea is not to be too far from those and to be close to negotiations with talent and improve our relationships with agencies. Most important question, beach or canyon? Canyon, definitely, no doubt. A version of this story appears in The Hollywood Reporter's May 12 daily issue from the Cannes Film Festival.